for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins. Make sure you guys go check out my sponsor, Easy Mutt. Use code VENM at checkout for 5% off. Yo, what's good guys, VenMFire here, back from the video, and today we bring you guys TNC Fantasy's updated gun trips tight end offense. Now, a lot of you guys have been requesting a new trips tight end scheme, so this will bring you guys some new setups that you probably haven't seen before, and even if you do run trips, you can still add it to your trips arsenal. This is different from the video I made earlier. This is an updated scheme, an updated game that I watched of his, and these are some new setups that I have not talked about before. So starting out, we're going to hop into our audibles. Trips tight end, we are going to be in the Las Vegas Raiders playbook, best trips tight end in the game. As far as our abilities, you're going to want the Hot Route Master ability at your quarterback position. Just for the versatility, you can put any player, on any route. Really is going to be more efficient than, backfield master, slot apprentice, tight end apprentice. Just get yourself a Hot Route Master. And then the other ability we're going to talk about is going to be Playmaker. I'll use Playmaker a little bit. It's not going to be super focused around that, but we will use it here and there. Moving into our audibles, we are going to have X spot, inside zone, verticals, and curl flat. Those are going to be our audibles. We're also going to go over the play PA post shot. Now really what you're doing with these audibles is you're taking one route that you like here, and you're kind of building around it. So you'll see that throughout the video. PA post shot is going to be the main play that we're actually going to talk about. We have some good setups out of all of these, mainly focused around this inside zone and PA post shot. With that being said, let's just get straight into the video. I'm going to start out with the PA post shot, and on the defensive side of the ball, I'm just going to kind of filter through. I'll probably mix in some zone coverage, some man coverage, things like that. So we'll just set our curl flats to 20, our flats to 5. I'll try and mix in like some double Mabel stuff, and obviously some man coverage. So let's go ahead, set up that 2-man under, and just hop straight into it. I also do want to mention that there is going to be a written version of this down below in the comment section. So if you're more of a visual learner, you can go ahead and look at that. I also do want to encourage you guys to go ahead, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and drop a like for more of these videos. But here we are in the PA post shot. Our first setup is going to be smart routing X. We're going to flat Y, flat A, and then we're just going to actually put our B on a little Texas route right here. So here's a look at the full play art. One last thing is post B. I guess I forgot to say that, but here's a look at our full setup. It's overall just a good versatile setup. We are going to use a lot of motion throughout the video, but for this setup, we actually don't have to use any motion. So that's something that is definitely a positive. We're just going to go ahead and snap the ball just against stock zone coverage. Really easy read between B and RB. And also one thing you notice is that I do have that playmaker in that slot position. That's really where you do want to have him. But again, the setup is just to post B, Texas, RB, and then flat both of your slot guys, tight end, and the slot receiver. Now, one thing you're going to want to do basically on every play out of PA post shot is smart out X. Now, I'm not going to say it every single setup, so we do have around 5 setups for this play, but you should know just to smart out X every time. It's going to make a minimal difference in 1st and 10 situations, but in 2nd and 5, it's going to be a little bit better for you. So, again, zone coverage, you can step up. I can hit RB. If I wait a little bit longer, I can go ahead and hit X over the top. Also, transitioning into a man coverage look. You will see that this setup is very, very good against something like that. It's a really versatile setup because it's going to be good with man. It's also good with zone because you have all those flat zones, things like that. We'll snap the ball. And right here, you see Mike Evans just gets a really good release on his S post. Definitely something that we like to see. I'm also going to go through a little bit quick with these setups. I have a lot, as you might see if you're looking at the written version. So let's just move into setup number 2. Now, setup number 2, what we're going to do is we are going to corner A, we're going to drag B, and then we're going to slant Y. So this is going to be it. You can also block your running back. That goes without saying. Play action, not very good this year. But yeah, here's just a look at the setup. This is just a nice, solid base setup. Again, it's one of those that's good against zone. It's good against man. You just have a little backside slant. And really, I love this little backside slant S-post combo. I feel like it's very difficult to user. The yard gap difference is so high between these two that you really cannot user it, especially if you're going with the double Mabel. So if it's zone coverage, they go ahead, they set up something similar to this. They just cannot user everything. And then you factor in the fact that you have a playmaker, and it almost becomes, unfair with the combinations that you can create. Now, I could leave B out. I could leave just him going to that side completely, but boom, I can, playmaker him up. The hook curl actually follows him. We can hit X deep. I could have hit Y as well. Really gives you a lot of options. One more time, just drag B, corner A, slant Y, and then motion him across. This is going to be our first range of motion. We do run a lot of motion throughout. If it is man coverage, you can also hit Rob over there. Playmaker will beat man coverage as well. But let's move into our third setup, and with our third setup, we're going to go ahead and drag B. I'm going to cross Y, wheel RB, and then I'm just going to motion Chris Godwin over. So this is one of these setups where you're actually going to block your tight end and send your running back out on a route. There's going to be a lot of six-man protections, if I do remember correctly, throughout this video. So you'll see some versatile, block the tight end, then we block the running back. But here's a look. Very, very good against man coverage. Something I love to do is have that backside crosser going to the left. I have my drag going to the right, and then I can playmaker it back, create kind of a high-low read in that sense. Again, stay stock, two-man under look. This is going to be a very, very solid way to run your offense. And if it is zone, you can always check down. Sometimes you block your running back enough, he's not going to respect it. You can keep him honest with this kind of wheel route, but you see, easy. You have two routes beating man coverage, the S-post, the crosser, and then you factor out the fact that you still have your playmaker, or that drag can, sometimes still beat stock man-to-man. One more time, here is a look at what we are doing. Wheel RB, drag B, go ahead, cross Y, and then just motion him across. When you motion him across, he can't get pressed, so he's going to beat man coverage 100 out of 100 times. Boom, I could playmaker B up. I also had RB on that wheel route. But let's move into our fourth setup now. And our fourth setup is going to be another thing that's kind of similar. What we're going to do here, though, is we're going to put B on a little zig route. I'm still going to cross Y, and I'm still going to block my tight end. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to throw RB on a flat route. So, again, we're going to motion this crossover, but it's just, again, similar concepts. You see out of PA post shot, one thing that I like to do is leave that S post. And again, what I kind of said earlier, building around one route, that's really what we do out of this play. We build around that S post because of how good it is against man, zone. Also something you saw I did with my zig route there. Sometimes you get some instant separation against man, and I can actually still playmaker him back in, which is exactly the route that I took. So here's a look at our player once again. Motion Chris across. If it is man coverage here, which we'll all audible to, you see how, maybe McCaffrey's getting bagged. We can kind of playmaker him back. Now, in that case, I think it actually playmakered RB. So that's one of my smaller issues with putting a flat route out. Sometimes with the zig, you can't get an accurate playmaker on him. But one more time, here is a look at it. Very good against zone. Let's go with a double Mabel look here. Just right here, and we'll snap the ball. You see how with the playmaker, he's covered. I can playmaker him back inside, and I can still have enough time to low ball that crosser in that small space. So let's move into our last and final setup with PA post shot. Again, I do have the most setups for this play, so everything else is going to be a little bit lower. But with PA post shot, our last setup, we're going to mix in some of the tight end stuff. We're actually going to throw him on a cross route right here. I'm going to go ahead, slant B. I'm going to streak Y, and I'm going to flat RB. So just like this, looks pretty solid from the player. We're going to motion Chris Godwin over, and this will not be the first time you see that playmaker guy on a slant route. This is something that Fancy does a lot. He loves that little, slant route to playmaker. There was another setup that he went to a lot. Now, I don't like the setup at all, but it was one where he slanted B, and then he motioned Y over and put him on a comeback. Now, again, I'm not a fan of that setup, so I'm not going to show you guys things that I don't think work at all. And that's kind of the case with that setup. So we're going to motion Y over on a streak, flat RB, slant B, and then cross A. Very, very good against two-man under. Let's set some of that up. Now, again, tight end should get open. B, if he's bagged, even on a slant route, sometimes they can get covered, especially against shade underneath man coverage. You can still go ahead and playmaker him back to the left-hand side. Usually he still will have some instant separation, so it can get even better. But that's going to do it for our first play. Let's move into the inside zone next. The inside zone is a big part of what we're going to do. Now, with this inside zone, he's going to do something like this pretty much every single time. Now, even if he's not cutting back to the right, he's going to stop and go, and he's going to decide where the hole is opening up. So even if it's something like this, you wait for the blocks to develop. It really is just the most efficient and effective way to run the football, in my opinion. You see by the yards he gains, if you watch the games, it is the most effective way, probably far and away. Just because patient running, you wait for the blocks to develop. A lot of times the players won't be able to shoot through the gap unless it's a user nickel 2-5 wide gap shoot type defense. If that's the case, if he's shooting the gap, he's going to leave himself susceptible to the outside. And the outside, it's not super good out of this, but let's say I go to 2-man under. If someone's running man coverage on you, see how that corner, he's going to go to the left side. Now look, there's no one on the right side to defend me. If I just lure that linebacker in, I can cut out, and then I have a one-on-one with the safety more times than not. Imagine that linebacker is going to rush inside or he's going to blitz you. That would be the case, and that would 100% result in a big play. Let's say he's just going to take the angle off. He's going to try and cut you off. Boom, I can fake the outside, I cut back inside, and I still get double-digit yards. So overall, very successful way to go ahead and run the football. It really is just very difficult to defend. You have to go through a lot of stuff in the run defense game in order to just stop this one run. Again, you see how even if I'm cutting outside, I still have the choice of cutting it, outside and in, or just completely outside. It's really just very, very versatile. It gives you just a lot of options, and just being able to run the ball out of a pass-heavy set is so, so useful, especially if you can get the ground game going. You start picking up 10 yards, 15 yards. Then he's got to worry about the run and the pass, and it'll just open up your pass setups that much more. So very successful. Not going to talk about it too much, but I did show it a good amount there. Let's move into our next most popular play, which will be curl flat. Really, the offense is built around 3 plays, I feel comfortable saying, in being PA post shot, curl flat, and inside zone. Really, you can audible your way around those and build a successful offense. Starting out with this curl flat, what we're going to do is simply just drag B and smart out A. This is a very, very successful setup against man coverage. It's another one that you can kind of quick snap because we're not using any motion. You just really do 2 hot routes and you can snap the ball. You see how A, he's going to get separation. B, although B didn't get separation because we didn't use motion, he's a playmaker. We can playmaker him back to the left and he will get open. This angle route's going to get open. And then the last read will be our curl route with Mike Evans. So if it's zone coverage, we should have either the curl or the flat both wide open here. It's going to be the flat. Actually, the curl looks wide open as well. That was because of the zone drops, but I think if I go ahead and adjust my zone drops, or let's actually go with a double Mabel setup, and I go with this stock, take a look at this left side as I'm in the wrong play here, but oh my, I accidentally blocked him again. There we go. So here's a look at the setup again. Snap the ball. If it's a double Mabel look, X is still wide open against cover 3 with 2 flat zones. So you're almost going to have to make them, they're really the only way to defend that is going to be man coverage, which is 50-50. Sometimes you'll get a good animation, sometimes you won't. Or you're going to have to set like a zone drops to 10 yards, which no one will ever do. So B's going to get pressed. We can playmaker him back. X is always going to be open unless they have acrobat or some weird ability that's going to give them leverage. You can always lowball an aggressive catch. Anyways, let's move into our second setup with this. What I'm going to do here is we're actually going to block our running back. Again, even though we have this angle route, it's cool and all. Sometimes you got to block your running back. Sometimes you need extra time, extra protection in the pocket. That's fine. So we're going to block our running back. We're going to drag B. We're going to smart out A. And then I'm going to post X, and I'm going to slant Y. So here's a look at the setup. Again, we're going to motion Godwin over. This is similar to some of the stuff out of PA post shot. Really, the only difference is I do think we have a little bit better of a corner out here. And the post route is just a little bit different. So going to be good against zone. Let's go to man coverage again here. Really what this does, and PA post shot, these deep posts are going to make your opponent be forced to almost leave deep zones there. It's going to force you to deep half the left, inside third, things of that nature. That's going to be pretty frustrating to defend. Anyways, here is a look at the setup. Again, you're just going to smart out A, drag B, slant Y, and post X. So again, it's going to be a lot of hot routing, but overall it's going to be successful, and you will not regret it. Against man coverage, Y's open, A's open, B is open with the playmaker, and X is open. So all 4 of our reads wide open against stock man-to-man coverage. He can't use her at all. Even if he puts a middle third, boom, the tight end's open. If he puts a curl flat, the deep post is open late. If he hard flats, the corner out's open. If he doesn't. The drag's open. It's just a lot of stuff. He's going to have to rush to just play complete coverage to have a chance to defend that setup. So one more time here, and that's all, not even regarding the slant route with the backside slant. So same thing is the case with this post route. You could always smart route it, and I always do recommend smart routing it in particular. Boom, I can playmaker B up. Meant to hit Y there, but you see how everything is open. Let's go ahead and move into our next setup with this play. What we're going to do here is we are going to go ahead and drag B once again. I'm going to block my running back again. I'm going to smart out A. I'm actually going to put X on a little out route here, and I'm going to cross Y. So when people are going with a double Mabel setup, I really am a big fan of this type of a setup. So this is going to be stock cover 3 with the double Mabel. And you see how you can easily fit this out route in. And that's something that he did a lot throughout that J-Wall game. If you watch that, I'm sure some of you remember. Some of you know what I'm talking about here. Fancy really did go to this kind of out route a lot here. And it's pretty successful. But he actually did get caught off guard a little bit. If it's man coverage, be careful. You can get lurked. But really, when you motion him over, it's going to open up a lot. There you saw even more than before. And that we're going to have that in one more setup. So that's not going to be... Actually, I think 2 more setups, but very successful concept. If it is 2-man under, which you're not going to go to, you won't really go to the setup too much out of 2-man under, if I had to take a guess. But even if it is, you have the corner route's going to be open, the drag route's going to be open, the backside crosser's going to be open, the out route won't, but you still have other options. Late play situations, you can playmaker. Boom, I can throw it to A still, crosser's open, difficult to user once again. Let's move into our last setup out of curl flat. And again, I only have one setup out of verticals, one setup out of X spot. Again, he doesn't go to those a whole lot. But with this last curl flat setup, what we're going to do is streak A. I'm going to smart out B. I'm going to curl Y and out X. Now, with your running back, I think he went ahead and ghosts him. So this little weird route. I will go ahead and say this is more of a zone coverage beater. I feel comfortable saying that. You don't really have a lot against man coverage. Maybe, I think McCaffrey does get separation, but if he gets a good jam, maybe he doesn't get open. The route from the slot is kind of interesting. It is going to open up X wide open, so it's again the same case for X. The curl route does a good job of holding the zones inside just long enough to complete that pass. Again, you're just going to streak A, go ahead, smart out B, curl Y, out X, and then ghost RB, just like so. You see how it's a nice little high-low read between B and RB, and even with a check down, I'm able to pick up around 5 yards, 10 yards there. So pretty solid. I think in late play situations, or if it is like a double Mabel type thing, I would either be able to hit Ronald Jones here, or I would be able to hit Chris in the slot, assuming that the user is going to follow around B, just like here. So we'll set it up again, just like this. Late play situations, you can step up in the pocket, throw it to Y. RB actually did get covered by the hard flat, I think, there, but still successful setup. Let's move into verticals. We got one setup out of verticals. Going back to this out route one more time here. We're going to put X on an out, slant B. I'm going to cross Y. This is actually a good max protect setup. Now, he didn't run verticals a lot in the game that I watched. Again, I think I might have gone over the play a couple of times in my previous video that I did about Fancy's offense, but not exactly sure on that one. But again, this is the case where we have B on a slant. I can playmaker B. Crosser, you saw how X was wide open there. Mainly for 0 blitz or even a 5-6 man blitz out of cover 3 defense. So let's set up a man coverage look. Let's say blitz is the house, something like this. I'm going to block 6 or even 7 to get the right protections. And really, this is a vertical setup, but with Hot Route Master, I could create this setup out of any single play. I do think that he just ran verticals as his call. He probably does have some other vertical setups. Again, you'd have to watch buy his ebook to get all these setups. This is no means a representation of his actual ebook. I just watch the games, get the information, write down some of the setups, and post them for you guys. So again, I'm not buying his ebook. I'm not re-uploading anything. I'm literally just watching the games just like you could do at home. I'm just putting it in a simple space for you guys to watch and understand a little bit better. So if anyone was confused by kind of what these pro player videos are, definitely not, re-uploading an ebook. I would never do that. But yeah, one more time, we will show this setup. Again, solid max protection. You always need at least a couple max protection setups. You can kind of tell when someone is going to bring the heat at you. Boom, X. So you can throw that X route. Be careful. You hit it with him once, he might be like, oh, okay, maybe he's throwing the out route. You hit him with it twice, and then he's going to start, oh, maybe I man up that guy. Maybe I throw a cloud flight on the field, something like that. So be careful. Anyways, let's move into our last play, which is X spot. Very, very solid play, but a solid setup. Again, we do only have one play. We can do a lot with the Hot Route Master, so some of these plays aren't as useful as they were in the beginning of the year. But now everybody gets Hot Route Master, so it's not as big of a concern. Here's going to be a look at what we're doing for our first way. We just cross A, slant B, smoke screen X, and then motion over the stock corner route. That turns it into a post route, and you're actually going to wait until he gets all the way at the end, just like here. So again, we have B on a little playmaker, so you can playmaker him back, you can playmaker him up. Y is on that nice post route there. You have X or A on a crosser. If it is 2-man under, you are 100% set here. Just with all the stuff you have, a step further, you're going to put RB on a flat. So that's going to help against zone. But if you notice him running man, there's no reason to ever send your running back out on a flat against man coverage. So if he's strictly running man, there's not even a reason to do that. But you see B on the slant, you playmaker him back. That's going to be easy money right there. Overall, it's a solid setup. You see how it works against zone, works against man. Let's run 2-man under again here. Again, here is a look at what you're going to do. One step further, if it's zone, you could flat RB like I mentioned previously. But yeah, really if you see anybody running man and you're sending your running back on like a flat or a wheel route, you know it's not going to get open. That's something that you can recognize, and there's not even a reason to send him out. Maybe you put him on like an option that could get open, or you just block him simply. So yeah, anyway, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, once again, hit that subscribe button. Please run the road to 20K. If you made it to this point in the video, that means you're a big supporter of mine. You go ahead, hit that sub button. Also, drop a like for more of these videos. Follow me on Twitter. If you're a supporter of mine, you want to support me on other platforms, follow me on Twitter. I definitely would appreciate that. Trying to grow my community over there a little bit. So that's going to do it for the video. Anyways, and peace. I'm out of here.